Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Becky Wakescheid, and I'm one of the Government Affairs Directors with the St. Paul Area Association of Realtors. And today I'm joined by Jamie Fritz, um, the City of Woodbury's Housing and Economic Development Coordinator, who's going to speak with us about Woodbury's first-time homeownership program. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Jamie. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Becky. I'm happy to be here and happy for the invitation. So, like Becky said, my name is Jamie Fritz. I'm with the City of Woodbury, the Housing and Economic Development Coordinator. And part of my role is to oversee the City of Woodbury's HRA, so the Housing and Redevelopment Authority. And one of our programs that falls under our HRA is the Woodbury First Time Home Ownership Program. And today I'm just going to give a pretty general overview of the program. So we're going to go over just eligibility, property eligibility, timelines for the loan, and just a few other important things to know for your buyers when you get a new client that's looking to buy and they fall into that low to moderate income buyer category. So I'm just going to start our presentation here. So the City of Woodbury, we've been very strategic and intentional with our policies in regard to affordable housing. And one of those policies that we came to find as very effective and also cost effective to reach a larger number of people is a down payment assistance program. So just the basic program objectives of the Woodbury program is the city wants to encourage homeownership in Woodbury. We want to provide opportunities for low to moderate income households to achieve home ownership and build equity. We also want to keep potential buyers in the market during challenging market periods. And we want to maintain a stable and diverse buyer pool for Woodbury's new and current housing stock. So just a quick overview of the program. So we provide loans up to $30,000 to eligible first-time home buyers and first-generation home buyers. I'll get into the difference between those two different categories in a little bit. Funds can be used for down payment and closing costs. It is a second mortgage that is in favor of the Woodbury HRA. We contract with NeighborWorks Home Partners to complete a full mortgage underwriting process on behalf of the city. And it provides competitive additional financing for buyers that wish to live in the City of Woodbury. So just to get into who qualifies as a first-time buyer and also a first-generation buyer. So in Woodbury, a first-time buyer is an applicant that has never owned or not owned a home within the last 3 years. And a first-generation buyer is an applicant that has never owned a home and whose parent or guardian has not owned in the past and do not currently own a home. Applicants during the underwriting period, they're going to sign an affidavit to claim first-time buyer or first-generation buyer status during the underwriting process. Applicant eligibility. So the annual household income cannot exceed $146,000. Our household income is not adjusted for household size. It's just the straight household, no matter how many members are in it. Debt to income ratio cannot exceed 50%. They must be current on any ongoing debt. The buyer must contribute at least 3.5% of the purchase price, and it's capped at $10,000. That 3.5%, it can come from seasoned savings that the buyer already has. It can come from seller concessions. It can come from a gift. It can come from stacking our loan with an MHFA loan. So there's a lot of different ways people can meet that 3.5%. Borrowers also have to complete 8 hours of pre-purchase education with a HUD-approved counseling agency. And that's true for, I think, every single DPA program that's out there. And we'll touch on that on the next slide. Be pre-approved with a prime A-rated fixed rate first mortgage. And their eligibility, so initial eligibility, is going to be determined during the underwriting process. And then another question that comes up a lot, applicants do not need to be a current Woodbury resident to benefit from this program. So going back to that HUD homebuyer education course, I think this is one of the best things that realtors and lenders can have their buyers sign up for right away. Once, we get a look at their income and we get the idea that, hey, maybe they fall into that moderate income or lower income buyer. NeighborWorks, so the contractor that we work with, they have their own home stretch buyer education course that is HUD approved. They facilitate the course, and they also have free options for people to sign up for, or there's also paid options. Like I said, I think it's really, really important to get your buyer enrolled as soon as possible once you've identified them as a moderate to low income buyer. Because if you get them signed up ahead of time, they get it out of the way. They get to know about all the other DPA programs that are out there in the metro area, which could help them, figure out communities that maybe they want to search for a home in. It can also help them see what they're eligible for in those different communities. And it can help set up that budget and that purchase price before we even get super deep into the search. NeighborWorks, they host virtual or in-person sessions. It is HUD approved. And if they do it through NeighborWorks, it would qualify for just, if they get the certificate, that would qualify or meet that satisfaction for multiple DPA programs that are out there. It's going to prepare your buyer for the home search. And it's also going to get your buyer introduced to NeighborWorks staff. It's going to get them information on all the other DPA programs in the metro area, which is great to know, especially, when you're not quite sure where exactly you want to purchase the home. And then just to reiterate, this is really one of the most important items to assist your buyer. And then if you get them signed up ahead of time, you're not, when a purchase agreement is signed, you're not scrambling to find an opening to get those 8 hours in. I'm going to send Becky this slide deck because the slide deck will have all the links to take you directly to the registration page for the home buyer education course and also a few other items on the NeighborWorks website. So loan terms and interest rate. Our maximum loan amount is $30,000. Most borrowers choose to take out the full 30. The principal on these loans is deferred until loan maturity or the property is no longer owned and occupied by the borrower, or if the homeowner does a cash out refinance. Interest rates for the standard first-time home buyer are fixed at 3% and paid in monthly installments. So they're just paying the interest. They're not paying that deferred principal. Applicants that are 65 plus or a veteran are eligible for a discounted rate of 2.75%. And then here's that difference between the standard first-time home buyer and then that first-generation buyer. So first-generation home buyers are eligible for a 0% rate, which means if they choose to, they don't have to pay anything or not have a monthly payment. Or if they just want to strictly put money towards that principal, they can go ahead and do that on a monthly basis. And our loan is a 30-year loan term. So repayment of principal. Borrowers can opt to pay back principal in several ways. They can do a balloon payment of the full principal amount. This is the most common option for our borrowers. Principal is paid back upon refinance or sale of the property. And then just touching back on refinance. So if they're refinancing just to get a better interest rate on their primary mortgage, that's fine. That's a situation where they wouldn't have to pay it back. It's just those cash out refinances. Borrowers can also opt to do monthly payments. Or just if they want to do optional sporadic chunk payments, like they come across a big tax return one year and they want to take care of some debt and gain a little more equity in their home, they can go ahead and just do a one-time payment towards that principal. They can do additional amounts onto their monthly interest payment if they choose to, because there is no penalty for paying off principal early under this loan program. So property eligibility. So Woodbury's purchase price of a home cannot exceed $419,000. Home must be a single family, townhome, or condo located in Woodbury. The first mortgage must be a prime A-rated fixed rate mortgage loan. Properties may not be within the floodplain as identified by FEMA. For the city of Woodbury, we don't have a whole lot of restrictions on where the home can be within the city or what neighborhoods. And Woodbury does not have very many floodplains. So there's, almost the entire city is available to someone that wants to. So in the past, we've had some questions about, it's like, well, Woodbury is a very expensive market, and what can $419,000 even buy somebody at the max? So I collected some data from, in a combination of Met Council and also Minneapolis Realtor Association. And if you look just south of the green tip of these stacked columns here, you'll see over the past 5-6 years here that the majority of the homes being sold in Woodbury are either at or close to that 419,000 or even below that. And that's been consistent over the past, since 2017. So, Woodbury does have those $500,000 to over $1 million homes. But that's a very small part of of the product that's actually being bought in the city over the past few years here, as you can see. So, if you have someone that thinks Woodbury is too expensive for them, or there's not a home or a product that, that is going to fit their budget in the city, we definitely do have homes for sale. I think last time I checked, we're, close to 40 homes within the price range that were currently for sale or coming soon. And then just our historical rate, we do have homes that are for sale in Woodbury that meet that. So what's the difference between our DPA product and other products in the metro area, and even the MHFA product? 30,000 is much higher than most other DPAs out there. I think the only other community that is, that doesn't have a lot of really specific restrictions or special programs on their DPA product is City of Shoreview. I believe they go up to 30,000, but ours is high, and we were intentional with that because we do realize that homes are expensive in Woodbury, so we wanted to give people an amount that was going to be meaningful. We have less restrictive household income limits. So our program is funded through a property tax levy. So that money belongs to the city of Woodbury. So we get to make the decisions on how we use that money and our program regulations. Some other programs are funded through, state grants or HUD grants, and HUD grants can be pretty restrictive on income limits and purchase price. So we feel like our program is able to, really have that benefit of being extra inclusive with, our ability to have our eligibility limits the way that we want. We also have a higher purchase price limit than a lot of other communities in the metro area with DPAs. And like I said, sometimes it just comes down to, if it's funded through HUD, they're going to have those purchase price limits. If it's in an area with, a different AMI, or if they're going by HUD AMI, then that's also going to restrict things for them. We also allow MHFA startup loans that can be layered and counted towards the buyer contribution minimum. So like I said before, if you have somebody and they just, they want to put down $1,000 with the MHFA loan, they can go ahead and apply for that. And if they want to just apply for that $10,000 capped amount that I talked about earlier and use that towards the 3.5% for our loan, they can go ahead and do that. And then something else unique that Woodbury has is we were one of the first communities to introduce a 0% interest rate for first generation buyers. Even in the new housing bill, they've, pretty much built that upon the few communities that had a program like this. And then we also do 60 days to close after approval. So, if somebody signs a purchase agreement earlier, so let's say, seller wants to move out in 60 days and they want to agree to something, you can still go ahead and apply for this program 60 days out, and that money is going to be there when closing day comes 2 months later. So you don't have to wait until it's 30 days to close to apply for this program. So how to apply? So applications are submitted online via the NeighborWorks website. This is kind of more for lenders, but the lender is going to play a key role in submitting and completing this application on behalf of the buyer. So it's really important that your buyer's working with a lender that's willing to help them with this and is knowledgeable about DPA programs. Because when things fall through, sometimes it's because we have a lender that's not very active with the DPA, or they, kind of put it off until we get to crunch time and closing day is coming up. They're going to ask for many of the same income and asset and credit documents collected for that first mortgage. I think for you all too, if it's taking your buyer a long time to find a property to purchase, maybe 3-4 months go by. I think it's wise to ask buyer, hey, why don't you give me some updated income? Or hey, tax season just ended. Do you have your new tax return so I can get that to your lender for you, or hold on to it for when we're ready to apply for the DPA. There are some fees associated with the DPA program. So there's an upfront $25 processing fee. So once the borrower is determined to be eligible, NeighborWorks is going to ask, do you want to proceed with the underwriting process? And if they do, then they're going to need to pay that $25 processing fee. The applicant, they're also going to be responsible. So this is a second mortgage, so they are going to have to pay for the title and recording fees at closing for this mortgage. They can pay for that out of the DPA mortgage amount that they're taking out. So they don't have to pay for that out of pocket. They can take those funds out of their Woodbury DPA and pay for those items. So this is just an illustration of just the process cycle. So during the application process, the buyer is going to be working really closely with the lender, and then NeighborWorks is going to be working very closely with the lender to make sure that we're getting everything they need from the buyer to get everything processed and approved before that closing date. I'd say the very, very minimum amount of time that needs to be given to NeighborWorks is at least 30 days. So if closing day, with more than 30 days, I would just go ahead and, tell your buyer to call their lender so they can go ahead and apply right away. But 30 days is really the minimum that we're looking at if we want to have a smooth closing day and everything to, happen on that same day. So this is just a quick illustration of just kind of what happens during the cycle. So that lender and borrower are going to submit the application with the first mortgage lender. Then we're going to screen for program eligibility. NeighborWorks is going to do the full underwriting process. NeighborWorks is going to coordinate with that first lender. And then on closing day, NeighborWorks is going to send the Woodbury DPA note to the title or closing company. And the buyer is going to sign that with the title and closing company on closing day. And then NeighborWorks is going to wire that DPA funding amount directly to the title company. So NeighborWorks is taking care of everything on Woodbury's end of things, and then that primary mortgage lender is just doing their normal deal and getting, the funds wired over and making sure the notes and all that good stuff is signed. So how the program can help. So the first time, help you all and help the lenders that are out there. So first time buyer programs can help alleviate an unfavorable buyer market by making mortgage payments on more expensive homes more manageable, decrease or eliminate PMI or MIP on monthly mortgage payments, increase the confidence and purchasing power for buyers, expanding their housing choice, bringing buyers back into the market that left due to market conditions, bringing new buyers that otherwise would have remained renters. So, maybe someone's been saving the past 4 or 5 years and they have that $12,000 in the bank or $15,000, but now it's not worth as much due to those housing prices. And this is a good way to, kind of boost, what's in their arsenal for, making an offer. So how can you all help buyers? Just knowing what DPA programs exist and raising awareness to clients that may qualify prior to starting the home search. Like I said before, it's going to help establish price points and where to search. It's going to help them budget for housing expenses. Be prepared for the DPA application process so everybody knows what needs to be done, or depending on what community, even if it's not Woodbury, what that community needs from borrowers to apply for their DPA programs. And then I also just recommend getting familiar with NeighborWorks staff. They operate, I think, 10 different DPA programs within the metro area. So just about, most programs in the area are administered by NeighborWorks. It's just a good way to create connections to help troubleshoot for a smooth application process. And then this is kind of more for lenders. The lenders need to complete the DPA application and play a key role in ensuring timely completion prior to closing day. So the more lenders are familiar with them, and NeighborWorks is familiar with different lending branches and different realtors, That's going to help them communicate or know who they need to reach out to if there's a communication gap during this application process. So last slide here. So I'm just going to quickly go over who our borrowers are. So kind of like I said in the beginning, we really wanted to reach a wide range of different buyers that want to live in Woodbury from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different regions of the metro. So the ages of our borrowers the past 7 years, they've ranged from 22 to 71 years old. The average age is 38. 60% of our borrowers are in that Gen Z to millennial age range, so 20 to 39. The average annual income is $75,000. That's just over the past 3 years, just because of the income discrepancies we've had over the past few years here. And 50% of the borrowers have been current residents of Woodbury, and then the other 50% have been from surrounding metro areas and even western Wisconsin. The average purchase price from 2020 to 2023 has been roughly $270,000. But in addition to that, over I think a quarter of our borrowers have bought homes that have been over $300,000. So we definitely have people looking at those starter homes, townhomes, properties like that. But then we also have families that are looking for larger, single family standalone homes. And then here's just a quick income distribution just to show that wide range of different families that we've been helping at all types of income ranges. So we got people all the way over here at the limit. We have some people right here at the $100,000 mark, and this is over the past 7 years. And then we also have a big chunk right here in that 80,000 to 90,000 bracket. And then we're also helping a lot of those lower income buyers over here from the 50,000 mark, and even all the way down to below between 40 and 50,000. So we're helping a wide array of people at varying income levels get into homes in Woodbury. So that's wrapping up just the basic elements of our product. And if anybody that's joining live has any additional questions, I'm more than happy to answer. And then I'm going to share my contact information and also some additional handouts for borrowers and some items for realtors just to review as well that Becky can send out requests, or you can also shoot me an email. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Jamie. I highly encourage all of our realtors to do their due diligence with down payment assistance programs, especially at the local level, because there are so many options available, especially the beauty of the stackable ones. So thank you for your time. And we'll wrap this up. So thanks.